How is everybody doing? Welcome back again to this short. Is it gonna be short? I don't know. But welcome back again to another exciting information about your journey to Canada. Now, if you've been thinking of a way to come into Canada, despite the recent cut in the number of people that are able to come to Canada, which meant that about 50% of the provincial nomination programs were affected by this recent change. But however, this update is about a pathway, one of the provinces that work directly with the express entry system that can help you to come into Canada. Now, this particular province is, providing us with 3 solid pathways that can help anybody that meet the criteria I will tell you in this video to come into Canada. Okay, so stay with me on this one as I tell you everything you need to know. So this particular province is offering 3 streams or 3 pathways that can help you to come into Canada. The good thing about this is that you don't need a job offer for these 3 streams for you to come into Canada through the express entry, because this province works directly with the express entry. What happens is this: you just have to have one single profile on your express entry, and you have to indicate your interest to settle in this particular province. Over the time, this province scans through the express entry pool and they select people that meet their demand in terms of job experience, field of occupation, and what have you. And once they give you that ITA, they're gonna slam you with 600 points. So no matter where you are in the scheme of things in the express entry pool, there's no freaking way that if you get 600 points, you will not be invited, even if a draw is conducted the next day. So that is the exciting thing about this amazing opportunity in this particular province and these 3 streams, which I will explain everything you need to know about these 3 streams in this video. What is this province we are talking about? This is the province of Ontario, which is the largest province in Canada by population, not by land mass, by population, the largest province, the busiest. If you think about Nigeria, think about Lagos or Kano, if I should say. I don't even know which which one is bigger anymore. But the largest populated city or province in Canada is the Ontario, which is offering us what you call the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, OINP, Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, OINP. So that is their own program that is working simultaneously together with the express entry system to invite and receive, qualified candidates to come and settle in Ontario. So stream number 1, the Human Capital Priority Stream. This particular stream, called the Human Capital Priority Stream, targets skilled workers with the right qualifications in terms of your work experience, your education, and your language proficiency. So what are the key features of this Human Capital Priority Stream? 1, you don't need a job offer. 2, you must have an express entry profile, and you must indicate your willingness to reside in Ontario. Okay, so 2 pathways under the Human Capital Priority Stream is what you call the Federal Skilled Workers Program and a Canadian Experience Class. Okay, the Federal Skilled Worker Program and the Canadian Experience Class. So the eligibility requirements, simply you have to have a 1-year work experience full-time or equivalent. That means you have an equivalent part-time experience in what you call tier 0, 1, 2, or 3 based on the NOC classification. Okay, number 2, your work experience must have been gained within the last 5 years if you are going through the Federal Skilled Worker Program, or within the last 3 years if you are going through the Canadian Experience Class. So for you to go through the Canadian Experience Class, you must have worked in Canada. That is the only difference between these 2 pathways. So your education qualification, bachelor's, master's, PhD, they are all accepted in this particular pathway. If your credential is gotten from outside Canada, you need to do what you call the ECA, the Educational Credential Assessment. Popularly, WES does that. Other organizations can also do that, but I've used WES and they are dependable. Though a teething problem here and there, but that can always be sorted out. Okay, so in terms of language proficiency, Band 7 is required, whether in English or French. 7 or higher, not lower. Okay, a Band 7 or higher is required in English or French in terms of language proficiency. Another thing there is that you should be able to show what you call proof of fund. You must show in your bank account that you have sufficient amount of money to reside in what you call in Canada. So I'll put a link to this video description where you know the amount of money you require based on your family size, because it varies from family to family. I think a single person is around, I can't remember now, but it's above $10,000 for sure. So the more the number of people in your family, the higher your what you call the settlement fund that is required. Stream number 2 is what you call the Ontario's Express Entry Skilled Trade Stream. So those in the skilled industry, whether what you call the artisans, okay, electricians, plumbers, and stuff like that. Once you are in the skilled trade stream, this stream number 2 is for you, and is kind of supports you to come into Canada without requiring any job offer. That is another interesting part of this pathway. So key features of this pathway is that it targets those that have skills that are very highly demanded. So if your skill is in the high demand trades, just like in construction, manufacturing, and maintenance, you can come into Canada using this particular pathway and settle as a permanent resident. You should also have an existing express entry profile and also a nomination of interest from Ontario. Remember, you don't need to create another profile in the OINP portal. Just your express entry profile is enough. In terms of work experience, at least 1 year work experience is required in the trades within the last 2 years. And you must also, indicate your willingness to settle in the province of Ontario. So number 3, you must have gained and maintained legal status while working in Canada under the trades occupation. So if your status is not legal, I'm afraid you may not be able to come in or use this pathway to settle in Canada as a permanent resident. You also need what you call the licensing. If your trade is regulated, you also need to be licensed to be able to practice here in Canada under the skills trade. In terms of language qualification, just simply a Band 5 is what is required, whether in English or French. So anybody that is a graduate, I should say, even if you're not a graduate, if you can express yourself in English, written, oral and written English language, you should be able to get a comfortable Band 5. So if you're not a graduate, for sure, you can be able to meet even this language qualification. Settlement fund depends on the size of your family as well. Use the link or in this video description or in the comment, depending on the platform where you are seeing this, to check what is required for you as what's it called, a settlement fund for you to go through this pathway. So the third one, the last but not the least, currently it seems that has been the darling, the favorite of all the pathways, is what we call the Ontario Express Entry French Skilled Worker Program. Those that can communicate in the French language, you have an edge. Lately, their score, the CRS score for those that can speak French, is in the 400s. So this also is another stream that Ontario is also leveraging to bring in French speakers to Canada. So if you can speak French, or if you're bilingual, as they normally put it, you stand a huge chance to come in through Canada and settle, especially in the province of Ontario, using what you call the Ontario French-speaking skilled worker program. So what are the key features? You don't require a job offer. Number 2, you should have a proficiency in English and French. Okay, you must show that you have a proficiency in English and French. Eligibility requirements: work experience in tier 0, 1, 2, or 3. Work experience, just like the Federal Skilled Worker Program, you have to show 1 year work experience at least in the last 5 years if you are coming through the FSWP, or in the last 3 years if you are coming into the Canadian Experience class. Education still remains your bachelor's, master's, or your PhD, and you require an ECA. Also, language proficiency is a minimum of band 7 in your French test and a minimum of band 6 in your English test. So this is for those that are bilingual, like I said. Proof of fund remains the same, varies from family to family, but also you should show your intention to reside in Ontario. Maybe simply by attaching job applications you'll be making to employers residing in Ontario. If you have a relative there staying in Ontario as well, you can get a letter to support your application as an evidence that you have the intent to settle and live in Ontario. If you have a property, which I doubt, these are ways you can prove that you have the intention to reside in the province of what? Ontario. Okay, so in a nutshell, how does this work? Simply decide the pathway you want to come into. Do you want to come through the Federal Skilled Worker or the Canadian Experience class, which is called the Human Capital Priority Stream? Do you want to come through the trades, or do you want to come in through the the French-speaking categories? Create an express entry profile. Indicate that you want to reside in Ontario. Ontario will scan the express entry pool. If you meet their requirements based on these 3 streams that I've told you about, they will send you an ITA. You have 45 days to supply the full application. And once you do that, they will issue you a nomination letter, which will give you 600 points in your express entry. With that 600 points, there's no gainsaying that you will be invited to apply for permanent residency here in Ontario. So in a nutshell, why are these streams very important and advantageous for you right now? 1, you are guaranteed 600 points to your express entry profile. You don't require a job offer, which means 1 step has been removed from you. Faster processing time as well, and also the ability to come in and settle as a permanent resident through the in-demand occupations. So why not give this a try? I will drop multiple links in the video descriptions as well as the comment section, depending on the platform you are seeing this. If it's on YouTube, go to the video description. If it's on Facebook or other platforms, go to the comments and find valuable links in there that can help you. Has this been informative enough? Why not like this video? Do well to share. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so. Or follow us if you are seeing this on Facebook. On YouTube, subscribe to this channel, and you will be glad that you did, because real and workable information is what we share on this platform. Okay, remember, it's not easy. If it is easy, everybody go run them. So, put in the work, and I believe that you will achieve your aim and your dream at the end of the day. Thank you very kindly for being with me on this one. And as usual, I will see you guys in yet another update. Adios.